Yes, welcome everyone. It's 2025, and the re-election of Donald Trump and the chaos of the first 100 days of his return to office have dominated the headlines and occupied the minds of our members in recent days. But as we meet in this uncertain and uneasy time, we should take time to reflect on all that we have accomplished since our last convention. There are three main parts. First is roses, our most significant achievements in the past year, like winning significant elections, sending Sean Scott to the legislature, and securing funding for social housing by taxing the rich. Thorns are challenges we encountered and how we might overcome them, such as organizing for Palestinian liberation under ever-growing scrutiny and repression. Buds are promising opportunities to intervene in the coming year, such as electing one or possibly two members for city councils in South King County, running a candidate for Seattle City Council, and writing our own ballot initiative in the next LC term. First part is the roses. Seattle DSA is a membership-led organization funded entirely by dues. In November, we elected SDSA member Sean Scott to the Washington State House of Representatives as one of two members from the 43rd District. The Electoral Working Group Socialists in Office Subcommittee now meets with Scott regularly to maintain and build the relationship we have with a former LC member. Our member powers significantly contributed to Prop 1A's victory in February. Not only did Seattle voters decide to fund social housing, we also collectively rejected the City Council's alternative, which would have raided existing funding instead of levying a new tax on the wealthiest corporations in Seattle. Finally, our chapter deepened our ties with labor by supporting striking Boeing machinists and continuing our solidarity with Starbucks Workers United. At our organizing fair in January, easily our most attended meeting of the term, representatives from Unite Here Local 8 and UFCW 3000 visited us at the Labor Working Group's invitation. They discussed the critical work of salting or forming a union at an unorganized business and encouraged our members to try it. But our work continues with Buds. The Palestine Solidarity and Internationalism Working Group's Boycott War Profiteers campaign demands that PCC cease carrying products made in the occupied territories of Palestine and Syria. The working group gathered thousands of pledges from Seattle residents to boycott corporations complicit in the oppression of Palestine and Palestinians, educating and agitating about the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Last month, members protested against the cessation of trans healthcare services for those under age 19 at Seattle Children's Hospital, after the institution acquiesced to an illegal executive order by the fascist Trump administration. This decision has since been reversed, thanks in large part to public pressure and litigation. SDSA members have been participating in Tesla Takedown Saturdays, which are protests and demonstrations in and around Tesla dealerships across the US. The effect of these disruptions is unmistakable, as Musk himself name-checked the Democratic Socialists of America, among others, in an unhinged post on his failing website, x.com, formerly known as Twitter. But on the local level, the chapter will work to send one member to the Renton City Council and possibly another to the Tukwila City Council, two cities where our gains in raising the minimum wage need to be protected. The only way out of times like these is through a broadened class struggle. And as a dues-funded, member-driven organization, we are well-positioned to endure the onslaught and continue to grow. We must understand two things: that no one is coming to save us, and that we have everything we need to save ourselves already. Thank you.
I want to, first of all, introduce our illustrious, soon-to-be Renton City Council member, Michael Westergaard.
Thank you, Fernando. I really appreciate it. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming to the DSA Annual Convention. Over the last few years, Seattle DSA has truly emerged as a political force in King County. Together, through the Electoral Working Group, we've achieved incredible victories, passing the highest minimum wage in the country, a victory we must continue to protect, and winning public housing initiatives like I-135 and Prop 1A in partnership with the Housing Working Group. These wins came despite opposition from the mayor, the city council, the Lamer DSA, and even the Seattle Times, which seemed more concerned about landlords than people. We stood up to the Democratic Party establishment with the Uncommitted Delegates campaign and made history by electing the first socialist to the State House in over 100 years. I also want to recognize the incredible work of the Labor Working Group, from helping workers organize with EWOG to showing up at strikes across our region, to phone banking now for AIM to organize Delta workers. If you've ever sat across the table from a boss, You've seen their contempt for you firsthand, how eager they are to replace you with somebody pressured to accept less. But in those negotiations, one thing becomes crystal clear. The bosses have no idea how much we do. They don't understand what it takes to make our workplaces function. The truth is, they are the replaceable ones, not us. You are a force. Together, we are making real change. What sets DSA apart is that we do the work. We teach each other. We grow and we win. We don't take on campaigns for people who think it's their turn or feel owed an opportunity. That's the responsibility of our membership, a responsibility that comes with the power we've built together. I want to continue this work. I want to build on the limited policy victories in Olympia, like rezoning and the missing middle bill, the momentum of the monumental wins of I-135 and Prop 1A to create social housing in Renton. I want to use the laws under the municipal code to establish a public transit network in Renton and support the new housing we'll build and help Metro and Sound Transit systems operate at full capacity. I want to support working people by bringing essential services like internet, garbage collection, and energy under public control where they always should have been. I want to stand up for immigrants who have been treated as invaders. I want to fight for teachers' rights to teach the full history of America and advocate for the fully funding of our education system. I want to protect trans kids' right to play sports and be part of our communities. These children are just trying to navigate their development. They don't need their underwear inspected to play sports or be interrogated to use a bathroom. Just do what has to be done. These projects change lives and the strategy of our power as a political organization. They show working people and voters the potential of public control and expose the lies told by both neoliberal parties to maintain the power of the donor class. But I can't do this without you. Join us in the fight as we take on the Chamber of Commerce and push for a better future. If you are here today, you are already involved in community and fighting for change. But you have networks outside of DSA, whether through labor unions, housing rights groups, immigration advocacy organizations, LGBTQIA plus rights groups, or other coalition partners. Please share our volunteer and donation links with your networks so they can get involved too. Together we can continue to build power. We need to win. Thank you, and let's get to work.
I want to introduce our esteemed colleague and comrade, Representative Sean Scott, to speak to us about how not only did we win his campaign, but we are making waves in the legislature. So come on up, Sean.
Solidarity, everybody. It's great to be here. I spoke before this convention last March, I believe it was, as a candidate for the Washington State House of Representatives. That was probably 52, 53 weeks ago. I'm very proud to stand before you today as the first socialist that was elected to the Washington State Legislature in over a century. And I've learned pretty quickly. I've been on the job as a state legislator for about 7 or 8 weeks now, and I've learned pretty quickly that the role of a socialist within a Democratic-dominated institution is to tell it like it is, but also to tell it like it could be. In Washington State, we are home to some of the richest individuals in human history, some of those wealthy corporations in human history, and they are only too happy to see many politicians who are in Olympia ready to do their bidding with huge corporate tax breaks, an unwillingness to tax the rich to fund basic services. If those policies emerge from this legislative session this year, the only reason why will be because of the pressure that has been applied by the left in this state, by activists in the state, by the working class in the state who understand that we don't have to have a state where we're rolling back social services and furloughing public employees and defunding our schools and healthcare. In the state legislature, I've been proud to work for the last 6 or 7 weeks on a bill that actually closed a corporate loophole, creating some $17 million for low-income housing in the state of Washington. But it is not enough. There are many of us who are looking around at not only the federal situation, but also the local situation, and seeing, in essence, no distinction between the austerity that is coming from one Washington state and the austerity that is coming from the other. When we see DOJ rolling back or attempting to roll back Social Security, the Trump administration doing everything that they can to institute austerity measures, there's actually very little distinction between those policies and what we have seen from the governor's office in Washington state. And I know that the crowd that's in this room and the movement that we're building nationwide as DSA is going to be a big part of the reason why that comes to an end and comes to a stop.
Thank you, Sean. As one of the last items on our convention, we'll be singing the Internationale. So I'll hand this over to whoever is motivating the singing of the Internationale.
Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights. Let racist ignorance be ended, for respect makes the empires fall. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The international ideal unites the human race. And so begins the final drama, in the streets and in the fields. We stand and bow before their armor, we defy their guns and shields. When we fight, provoked by their aggression, we'll be inspired by life and love. So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The Internationale unites the world in song. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The international ideal unites the human race.